In this video, we're going to see how to set up categories for each of your graded items. So again, you go into the gradebook and switch from grade report to categories and items, and then note down at the bottom of the summary page you have the option to add a variety of different things. So you could add a category, and we're just going to call it category 1 for lack of a better name. And the second item is aggregation, and that just means how the scores are combined together. The natural aggregation is just a weighted mean, so it's just going to be summing up the totals, the total weights, and then it will give you your score out of 100. But you have some other options, for example, median, highest grade, mode of grades as well. So I'm going to put it to the median grade, which is just the middle grade, and then you'll notice that when I've done that, this option in category total becomes available as well, and you can select a value which would be the percentage essentially, scale 1 to 5, or if I have the scales that are available now, these are the scales that are available: satisfactory, not satisfactory, etc. Or text. And if it's a text, then you just actually have to type the grades in yourself. I'm going to put it back though to value for category total, and it allows you then to customize a couple of the other things as well and save changes, and you'll see that my first category, category 1, has been entered. Okay, see it down here, and of course there are no items in it because when I originally set it up, the items were already inputted and not given any particular categories. Note also that category 1 has been given 15% in the weighting, and so note that categories are also weighted, so you have to be very careful when you're calculating your weights to ensure that your weights and your category weights still add up to what you want them to add up to. In fact, using categories is another way of weighting your scores. Just put everything that you want to be weighted, say for 5%, into one category and just weight that category 5%. All right, so let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to take out all of these weights here. Save that, save changes. Everything's going to be adjusted to 12.5. Yep, that's correct because I have 8 items now. 100 divided by 8 is 12.5. Let me add another category, and I'm going to call it category 2. Leave that at natural weighting. I'm not going to worry about the category total or anything. Save changes. Note that the category weights are going to be adjusted again. Oh, you know what? Let me change that medium and change that back to change that calculation. Oh, sorry. Let me edit the settings for category 1. I'm going to change that from median back to value. Sorry, back to natural. And it should have been set back to 0. And it's set at 0 now because there is nothing in there presently, because there are no assignments that have been put into category 1. So how do we do it? If we don't do it when we're actually setting up the items in the gradebook, you have to do it manually here. And it's very simple. Notice these little up-down buttons next to each of the items. All you do is you simply click on Move, and you can put it into a category if you want to. I'm going to put that one into category 2. Okay. And you actually can even and put all of these into category 1. Note that it's obviously going to be much easier to select to select a category while you're creating the item than it is to do it this way. It just takes much longer to do it this way because you got to go one by one by one by one by one. Almost done. And this final one, move that into category 1. Now, good. Now, you'll notice something interesting with the weights. What has happened here is that the weight for each of the items now is dependent just on what is in the category with it. So remember we said that the item weights always had to add up to 100. Because we only had one item in category 2, that's given all of the 100% for category 2 items. Similarly, we have 6 items in category 1, so the 100% for category 1 is divided up between those 6 items, and you get 16.667, 666666667, whatever, and given to each of these items. So all of these then are going to add up to 100%. And then category 1 and category 2 are going to be weighted by default according to how many items are contained within each of them. We can set that, however, and what I'm going to do is change this category, and instead of calling it category 1, I'm going to call it coursework. Save that, and I'm going to call this second one exam. Save that. And now I want to actually weight one category against the other. Now, it doesn't matter what I put on these weights. These internal weights, the weights within the categories, are going to stay the same. But I can weight the categories against one another now, and I'm going to say I want my coursework to be worth 60%, and I want my exam to be worth 40%. And I save that, and now that's what's going to be calculated for the overall grade. And so that's really all there is to it for categories and weighting of categories. Just remember that once you bring items within a category, the internal total of that category then has to be 100. So if I start inputting weights for this, it's always going to balance it out to 100. Similarly, well, this one will always just be 100 because it's just one item that I've entered. So that's it for categories and category weightings.